Alright, welcome back everyone to The Lost Treasure of Yamashita, Ep.04. When last we left our heroes, Roland, Gwen, Megumi, and Roland all made their way through the jungles of Luzon to Breech 6, which is the tunnel, the entrance to the Japanese tunnels, the warren under the mountain, with Emmett Flisk. He's the previous party member from the previous expedition, I should say, who kind of went with you and is showing you the area. You all arrived to Breech 6, and does anybody want to kind of take over the recap and just mention briefly what happened of interest last session?
Well, I attempted to explore down the tunnel, and
our big strong protector passed out.
there's a regular gas chamber down there. And the amount of bodies, I would mean that as a joke. Luckily, Miss Matsui was able to fish me out. Quite literally, when I was being pulled out of there, I knew how a fish on a hook must have felt. However, not having a better option, we went back down, set the dynamite, and blew the collapsed tunnel. Hopefully cooked off some of the gas, but I believe that's drawing our friends on the motorcycles, so we'll have to deal with them before actually seeing what's down there.
Okay. And specifically, as we shift back over to the map, and I didn't hide anything because everything should be more or less the way it was. Ronan, what did you do at the end of last session? Or if he's muted, then actually we'll jump over. And Gwendolyn, what did Gwendolyn do at the end of last session?
Well, Gwendolyn helped with the fishing expedition to get Roland to get our friend out. She was on the surface end of that, and then got the car away from the hole, so the explosion wouldn't affect it. And then used her it's in kind of very light magic to which one Meg hopped at thinking there was no such thing as magic, and people kind of running everywhere wasn't quite as effective as it should have been.
But yes, it did take effect on Gwen and Ronan. And then, Ronan, if you're back, what was the final thing you did in the last session?
Oh, I hopped on this dozer here, turned it on, pointed it at the sounds of the motorcycles, and then just waited for the perfect time and let it rip.
Okay, excellent. And you had rolled 3 successes on your drive, and oh, this is not the right one actually. Let me turn that off. We'll do this one. So yeah, the bulldozer is beginning to just like charge down the hill, the crest of the hill, and then at the bottom is where the motorcyclists are coming up, and you can hear these dirt bikes roaring up pretty quickly. And just as the figures of the bikers become visible, you can see that they're both holding weapons up on the handlebars, and you can see the ugly barrels of an Uzi and another guy who has a rifle. The bulldozer charges ahead, and I will need initiative from everyone, please. Your initiative should be a secondary attribute, if I remember correctly.
Right, as I'm doing, at some point I actually had moved down to about right here.
You
so
know
I'm
what?
Just adjusting position there.
That's correct. I remember I actually moved you back from my memory, but you were down there. Correct. And then I need to roll 2 drive checks, which is dexterity only. Oops, that's going to double it. Hold on, I have to roll manually for
I
these
did
guys.
that with my token. Did that. So
Alright.
Those trees are very festive. I thought those were Christmas trees at first.
They quite possibly are. I just grabbed free roll 20 tokens to cover the map. oh, you already got it.
Another mystery for us to solve.
Okay, and then
This is Christmas campaign. Middle of July. Or end of June, sorry.
Christmas in July. It's a thing.
In July is a
There's a
thing.
Christmas special to that effect.
It's true.
I've never done a Christmas campaign, but I've done a couple Christmas one-shots.
I did once for a campaign, need a map of a town in the winter, and the only one I had was Santa's Village, and I'm just like, deal with it, people.
Santa!
Okay. Let's shuffle this.
Last
So-
Christmas I ran again one shot where they had to rescue Jack Frost.
So, kind of, as I guess you'd call it, a surprise round. The tractor is just charging forwards. The bikers come back over, and they swerve, trying to get out of the way as this big blade of the what's it called? The tractor bulldozer. That's the word. Comes at them. The first biker on the top, he rolled a 1. And he tries to swerve out of the way, but is clipped by the thing, and his bike goes down sideways and he spills out into the brush. The other guy rolls 2, which is just enough to maneuver his bike around, but he gets kind of caught into the bushes, and the bulldozer charges past. Gwen, it is your turn.
Can I see either of them?
Yeah, you can see kind of through this trail the bulldozer breaking the branches, and you can see probably the one on the bottom because he's still on his bike versus the other fell off.
Okay, so the other that's the better shot. He will pull out. I can't remember what kind of pistol you gave her. But she will pull out her stand up kind of behind the tire and using the back of the Jeep as cover.
Do this.
Try to shoot a pistol at the guy on the bike.
Okay. So he will roll defense. And that is 3. So you actually hit him pretty good. Okay, so the gunshot rings out. Roland.
Alright. I'm going to go into position.
I guess I'll probably move one here.
I'm coming out with the FAL up, kind of moving tactically.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure a gun of this quality can do a shot at 40 feet, so I'm taking a shot at the guy on the bottom.
Oh, that's right. You're pretty far away. Oh, it won't change anything. You're good. Go ahead. Are you shooting the same guy?
Shooting the guy on the bottom.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's the one I have line of sight on because there's a tree in the way of the other one.
Yep.
So I'm throwing a style point into this.
Okay. This guy is not going to survive that. How do you kill him?
So as I said, I'm coming out tactically with the FAL. Take one breath. Shoot. Just the mercy shot, right in the head.
So the bullet passes straight through. There's a little bit of a spray behind, and he's just off the bike into the bushes. The motorcycle itself has already kind of wobbled as it slows down, and it continues forwards a little bit, and then just kind of plows to the ground onto its side, right in the clearing area. You now being visible and not under cover and having taken fire, the other biker kind of pulls himself up onto using the bike for cover that's fallen, and he's got the Uzi. He just squeezes the trigger at you, and he is going to auto fire and just empty his magazine in your direction. I need you, Ronan, to roll defense.
Me? Oh, okay.
Sorry, Roland, not Ronan. Actually, where is Where is Ronan?
I'm just in the middle of the map, man. I'm out in the middle open, man.
Yeah, he is shooting at you. I was thinking your token was Roland, but there's too many trees between.
I thought the tree would have given me some cover.
Yeah, I was thinking Ronan's token was yours. So he is shooting at Ronan, so I'm going to need you to still roll defense. And he is going to like empty the magazine. That is going to
Oh,
For
cost
some
lovely.
reason, I just noticed Meg isn't on the initiative tracker. Did she
was
I
do
that
just-
roll?
I actually just texted. I forgot to click on my token. I got a 4.
You got a 4? Okay, I added you in. Go ahead and put it in.
Okay.
And then actually
that we get the +2 modifier? I'm not sure all what it affects.
does the blessing do that for defense rolls?
Nope, it is skill checks. Defense is an
Skill
attribute.
check, okay.
Okay, so I haven't rolled his attack, so we're going to kind of recorrect the initiatives. Since Meg actually also got a 4, you can take your turn first, and
You
then
can just put me later. It doesn't matter since I forgot to click.
no, you can still take your turn.
Okay.
You're
I'm not going to do much, so
yeah, so you can still go for it.
let's see. I've got a 6 for movement, and what I would like to do, that's just 6 squares, right?
Yeah, 6
I'm
squares.
gonna do the little, crouch and run and just take cover right here.
Okay.
In terms of the terrain, is it the case that we're in a clearing where the place where we came in is like really truly a choke point?
You cannot maneuver
Or is it like right where I
vehicles.
am? Okay. But like right where I am, is the foliage and so forth kind of growing in such a way that someone could come through here on foot?
From the outskirts of the jungle?
Yeah.
Anybody could make their way through, and in the map
Okay.
you can see there's some areas that look like paths. Those will actually be thinner paths you could go. It's just you couldn't really drive a car very well through that type of thing, versus this is a cleared road they used with the dozer.
That's what I was wondering about, exactly that spot where I am.
Yeah.
So, everybody seems to be doing great with these 2 dudes on the motorcycle, so I'm just kind of slowly working my way through cover to be a little bit closer if I need to be. But I am really just kind of trying to surveil this back area,
Okay.
just to make sure that nobody else is sneaking up on us from some other direction while we've got this distraction over here of the motorcycles.
Okay.
So that's my turn. That's it.
Sure. I think when I moved the map over, the graves actually didn't move over, because the graves were supposed to be over here too.
Okay.
So yeah, you're over here. The mounds aren't tall; they're like maybe 6 or 8 inches up because
Right.
it's been dug down. But yeah, roll a perception for me.
Okay. It's a secondary, right? Yep, there it is.
Okay. As you get over to this area and you're kind of crouching down, are you're looking in the back area or towards where the combat is?
More towards the back. I'm kind of more, I think, listening to combat.
Yeah, so you hear the crack of the revolver, very much more quiet than as the foul ricochet shoots and then takes out the one biker. And then you see on the ground there are actually a handful of bullet casings, still kind of shining that gold brass, mixed in, treaded down in some areas, but definitely this is recent, not from World War II. This is from very recent. They're pistol casings, and that's about as much as you see from just crouching down. You can see like maybe 4 or 5 of these scattered around in this area. And then we return back to the biker. Actually, Ronan, you have a 3 as well. What is your dexterity?
Good question.
Because if it's a tie,
Dexterity,
actually,
it's a
PCs go.
3.
Okay, so ties, PCs do actually go first. So he looks like he's getting up and presenting this little machine gun towards you, machine pistol. But you are a little faster. What do you want to do?
I pull my gun out and go to shoot him.
Okay. He does have cover against his motorcycle, so he gets a bonus on his defense.
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's see. So
you just roll your attack which will be under your weapons. Did you?
All right.
Okay.
I did.
So yeah, there's the crack as your 30-06 shoots down over him. He ducks just in time. You maybe take a hole through his hat. It's a close shot, but he is uninjured from it, and he unloads at you. There's a burst of as the machine pistol goes at you, and he gets a +3 for using multi-fire. You roll your defense, or you already did, actually, didn't you? Did you want to roll any style points? Otherwise, you can reduce wounds with 2 style for 1 hit point if you want.
Oh man.
I'm going to wait to roll until you tell me if you're using style points. Or no. On your
Yeah,
defense.
I'll use a style point on defense.
Okay, so I can just roll for you because I have the code here. How many style points do you want to use? Just 1 or 2 or 3?
I'll
only
use
have
2.
You have 2. Okay. So you have 3 successes on your defense. Oh, and I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Ignore the second one. Okay, so the machine gun is 6 damage. You rolled 3 successes, so you take 3 points of lethal damage as you just take a couple of these 9mm rounds to the chest. And you
I'm down.
look like you are down. Adam, does he roll a body check or a con check? Or sorry, a body check or a will check?
That was lethal damage, so if it reduces him to 0, or is he at less than 0?
It put me at -0.5.
So the 0.5 is a non-lethal. So he has 2
Okay.
hit points left, and then he had a non-lethal.
Okay, because what brought him below 0 was a lethal, has to make a body check to see if he's bleeding out and a will check to see if he's conscious, and both are
You have to
-1 because
Yeah, so you had 2 hit points down to -1, but then that -1 is a non-lethal, so you'd be at -1 non-lethal. But go ahead and roll the body check.
the style point to bring himself up to 0, in which case it's boot.
Oh, you can burn a style point for just the non-lethals too?
Recover to just the first style point would erase the non-lethal, so it would be he'd be at 0, and then he could move, attack, or defend himself.
So if you wanted to remain not dead or not unconscious, you can spend your last style point to erase the 0.5. Otherwise, you're down and have to roll a body and will check.
Shoot,
Do you want to be up or down?
I'll just go down. Body, then I'll roll willpower. I've already rolled
Remember,
one.
you have to have a -1 on those.
Oh, shoot. Gotta be joking me. Wow, okay.
Okay, that's still good.
So he is stabilized. He does not need to roll body anymore. He is not bleeding out. Now the will check is to see if he's conscious. He would not be conscious because you need at least a 2, so he is not bleeding out, but he's also not conscious.
Okay. The other person's dead, so it's back to Gwen.
Okay, he's standing up now. Or
No,
still
he's like dropped down behind his motorcycle, but he seems to have spent all his ammunition.
Dropped down behind the motorcycle.
I will say something I missed pretty much last round, but there's a lot of jungle foliage here. To really get a clear shot on this guy, you'd have to come down around the trees or make your way through the trees. Man, those really do look like Christmas trees.
Totally are.
I'd like to take an ornament out of the tree and then chunk it at somebody.
They could be peppers, so it's pepper trees.
if I went up to where over here, will I have a decent shot at him?
He would have cover and there'd be trees in the way, so he'd probably get a pretty good defensive bonus, but you could take a shot at him from there. You'd probably have better luck kind of pushing through some of the trees on the other side trying to flank him.
Yeah, he might see me coming, though, and unload a full Uzi at me.
Maybe.
I think she would still try to keep the metal between her and try to come around here and shoot, like, over... No, but he's got the bike now on the way, too, doesn't he?
Ronan, I don't like backtracking, but I just remembered you were blessed, so your attack roll on him would have gotten the +2 spell bonus. So I'm going to, because it was an even, I'm going to say you did 1 damage to the guy. I think that's the average.
Okay.
So you did nick the guy, but then he got you.
Nice.
I think she's going to come up over here, and is there such thing as holding an action?
There's no holding actions in Ubiquity.
How far can I move? 30 feet?
Yeah, and then I like to run where every diagonal is 2. Like, it's like Pathfinder, so 1 diagonal, then at the second one's 2.
Okay, well, let's try moving stealthily into the brush then. So... maybe there. She's gonna try to sneak into there.
Okay, I will have you roll a stealth check, please. And I will give you a +2 because of the jungle.
So
Noise isn't really an issue. He's shooting
So-
guns.
+4.
Okay. Yeah, you make your way through. There's vines, palm leaves, pepper trees in the way, and you're able to get around. That's a move. From there, you could take a shot at him if you want. He'd still have some cover from the trees.
You have a... Okay.
Would you want to do that?
If he's still reloading his gun, if it sounds like he's completely out, yeah, let's...
Okay. So he has a -2 on his defense from being attacked, but he also has a plus on the cover, so it's a straight roll for him. Okay. And I imagine this is kind of like you just firing off multiple shots through the brush towards him, and some of them actually seem to strike him, but he's still up.
Okay.
Meg.
I would like to peek out from my cover, first of all.
Mhm.
What's our friend Emmett doing?
Oh, I forgot to roll for Emmett. He's basically kind of crouched down. He's got his pistol drawn, and he seems to be like ducking down behind a rock trying to watch what's happening, but he's not engaging.
Okay, so he doesn't have the pistol aimed at the moment?
No, imagine he's like against a rock like this and his pistol's in his hand, but he's not presenting it.
Okay. I would like to move again to about here to whatever cover.
Okay.
Again, just kind of keeping an eye on things, but mainly in this back quadrant. Again, because I do not want anyone sneaking up on us on foot. So yeah, Meg is a little bit suspicious of Emmett, so I just would like to be...
Okay.
I'm not going to get in front of him, and I just want to see if he swings into action. I want to see who it is he's aiming at.
Sure. Are you trying to be stealthy?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have you roll a stealth check.
Okay.
Are you trying to be stealthy from Emmett?
Yes.
Okay, because there's not a whole lot. Well, it's not the same way where there's jungle everywhere because you're like coming out along the clearing. I'm not going to give you the bonus.
That's fine.
But yeah, go ahead. Roland. Yeah, you heard this burst of machine gun fire. You hear another couple shots, you know, from Gwen up there. What do you do?
Thinking this guy doesn't have a lot of bullets, he's not a threat. He might just talk. But he doesn't need his kneecaps to talk. Cold shot to the knee.
Okay. um,
I have the
Okay.
accuracy talent, so I get to reduce the penalty by 1.
okay. I'm
I wish I'd known that because I have the accuracy thing. Dang it.
I'm giving. What? Hold on one second. Okay, so you're taking a called shot. He's on the ground. His leg is visible because he's like leaning against the motorcycle now, but you can take a shot. You're not far. So what's the called shot penalty?
Cold shot to a limb is a -2.
And that's reduced to -1.
That's reduced to 0 because I have the accuracy talent.
Okay. And
They
this
want to
is-
give me a -1 if you say like the kneecap is more specific than the leg, but
I think it's more because he's like in the jungle and a kind of partial cover. So I'm gonna.
so
I'm
if you
gonna
want
still
to do
give
that as a
you.
penalty for me or as a defense bonus for him, just let me know. Let's play this.
I'll
however
give
want.
you. I'm gonna give you a -2 penalty.
Okay.
So
Let's throw a style point in to.
okay, and then I shall roll
Swear
this.
I swear I'm missing a style point. I thought
Oh,
I had 3 and spent 1.
I gave you one because you made me laugh.
Oh, good.
So he's been shot by Gwen, and that's it this round, I
Oh.
believe.
He has a -2 because he's been attacked.
Yes.
I have a -1 because he's got some cover. So let's.
So
let's
I
do
don't
that.
actually roll on a called shot. You just roll and see if you can match his defense.
No, that's a called shot to a vital area. This is I'm trying to hit a specific body part, so he still gets his defense.
Okay. Well, there's an eruption of screaming as his knee is blown completely out. Yeah, I have to roll for him. Willpower, I believe, and body. If you hit his vital area, or if you hit his kneecap and you did 6 damage to him, does that because it's called shot? Doesn't actually kill him, right? It just brings him to 0.
I would
Or
say, yeah, you can just called shot. It's kind of up to the GM to
Yeah.
narrate how that works.
okay.
I think a shot to the knee specifically isn't going to kill him.
No. So I'm reducing him to 0, and he is still up. I would think awake, but just disabled at this point.
Sure. Are we out of turn order, or
At this point, we would be, yes.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna medicine this guy to make sure he's not gonna bleed out.
Okay.
I want him to live long enough to talk.
All right. What about Roland?
Fuck Ronan, we just want the dude.
Yeah.
We just want the dude. What is Ronan doing on the ground?
Yeah. Emmett's also kind of running up.
It's
Gwen.
open season on Ronans. They had a license. It's fine. They bagged
Just
him.
barely breathing out. You
Gwen
wanted
is,
this.
They bagged him.
Gwen is in the middle of the bush, so it probably takes. She probably waits a couple seconds until no shots are being fired, and then
Yeah.
kind of moves into the clearing. And if
Yeah.
she'd see Ronan down, would move over.
Yeah, you can hear this guy moaning and groaning. Emmett kind of is watching Roland go up to that guy looking over at Gwen doing this, and he's going to come over towards the bike and kind of like try to like see if it's got bags or anything. That's what Meg is seeing from back down there. Ronan, you are already stabilized. So you're like
Doing a
unconscious
medicine
though.
check. I'm crouching down. I'm putting a stick in this guy's mouth so he has something to bite down on. I'm tying off the leg.
Okay.
Then
roll
I'm
roll a
pulling out a
perception
flare,
check.
and I'm like, pulling out a flare, sprinkling some gunpowder on the stump, and I'm like, this is gonna hurt you more than it hurts me.
Oh, shit.
Cauterizing his leg with the flare and the gunpowder.
Okay. Roll a perception check and then roll a medicine check, and I think with that description I will give you a +1. Okay. You could see when you run up that he's like too focused on his blown out leg to know to like try to draw a pistol, but he does have a pistol in a holster, a nice leather holster on the side. But he's not going for it at this point. He's just like grabbing his leg, and he's been shot a couple times in one of the torso and shoulder from Gwen. So
That's not
So-
good. I think I killed him.
yeah. As you cauterize the wound,
Trying to provide medical attention with road flares and gunpowder wouldn't work.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
Boom! I just blows
What a
him
way
up.
to go. Out with a bang, I guess.
once you begin to like kind of burn the wound close, you notice that the screaming has stopped.
My God.
Close his eyes.
What a torture. Torture method. What's going on?
Close his eyes. Take the stick out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's dead.
I'm gonna look over at Gwen and go, keep him away from me.
Oh my God, that's the style point. Speaking of Gwen, are you doing anything to try to?
Yes. Hold a second. Well, we've got you. That was he might. I'll keep him away from you, but we're keeping you away from the driver's seat of the car.
Are you trying to do any medicine on him or no?
Yes, I was looking for the medicine skill. Here we go.
Oh,
Okay,
There we go.
that's much different. As yeah, we begin to pack the wound a little bit. He's got superficial wounds from the machine gun for the Uzi, but you begin to wad extra cloth and shirt into the wound and try to stop the bleeding. You regain 2 hit points, which means you are back to being awake.
Man.
And then at this point, Roland, as you kind of are looking down at this dead guy, Emmett comes down and he's like, "The son of a bitch, he killed my team. Let me at him." And he kind of comes across the motorcycle.
Bit late for that, mate. I didn't survive his wounds.
You're not wrong.
The look that crosses his
Not
face
a
is
lie.
Keep in mind, like, the end of his leg is probably burned from where I tried to cauterize it with road flares and gunpowder.
Oh, man.
Go ahead.
Well, you got quite the tracker record, Rowan. Alligators, snake bites, bullets.
I know, right? I'm awesome.
At least this time it was a mammal, not a reptile that got you.
We don't know yet. Who knows? I'm up now, but a iguana might come out here in a little bit and chew my foot off or something. Oh, Lord.
So Meg's gonna call over and say, "Did either of them have walkie-talkies? What are we finding on them?"
Can I walk over to the other motorcycle?
Yeah, I'd say you're probably limping, but you're able to move around. Cosmetically, you're injured, but statistically in the game, you're fine.
Okay. Can I take a look at the motorcycle, like see if I know anything about it, if there's anything on it?
Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation, and then Meg, are you staying kind of over there? Or are you going to come up and help too, or?
I am going to move out of cover and move to about right there, I think. But I don't know. I'm having, the whole I got a bad feeling about this deal.
Okay.
So I'm still surveilling.
Sure.
But I'm moving a little bit closer just so that I can be part of conversations.
Man,
basically.
it's one of these things. It
Well-
got 2 wheels.
Well, you didn't roll a critical failure, so you do find some stuff there. But kind of what you all observe is up by Roland and the body. Emmett looks kind of like aggravated, and then he looks at Roland and just kind of like gives you a gentle shove. He's like, "He could have talked, man. What'd you do that for?"
Look, I'm not a doctor. I have some battlefield medicine. He was just too far gone for it to work.
Yeah, he's gonna just like take a deep breath, stroll away, kind of, and then he holsters his gun. The tractor is long gone. It's rolled down the ravine.
And the insurance premiums just went up.
Do we hear anything else coming?
You can roll perception, and
Might as
then
well.
yeah, go ahead.
Because that's kind of what I've been,
For
doing all along.
for Ronin on the bike, it does have 2 saddlebags. They're worn very well, leathered bags, and inside you do find a couple basic things: some water, some rations. There's extra magazines for the rifle that the dead guy on this side had. And then in the other, there is a satellite phone and some other stuff, compass and rope and other things like that. Gwen, are you going down to the other body?
Yeah. First things he's gonna look for is like insignias or patches or like a uniform. But he would also search for papers or weapons or other things like that for anything that could be valuable or useful.
Okay, go ahead and also roll investigation if you haven't already. And then Roland and Meg. You can
I should
hear.
ask, is this still considered the same scene? Or is
Technically,
the
yes. This is immediately after the combat, so I don't feel like it's necessarily changed yet. So yeah, you can add the plus. Okay. So as you begin to rifle through, the first thing you notice is the gaping headshot. There's a big hole in his forehead.
first
For
thing I'm looking for is insignias or if anything like for a military group or who they were, anything that identify who they are.
Okay. You do find a couple things of note, but I will first go back to Roland and Meg. You're focused on the surrounding area, the jungle. It's a little quiet because of all the gunfire. All the animals have ceased their chirping and just the ambient noise, but it doesn't sound like there's too much else going on. You can hear the tractor upside down, the treads spinning, but yes, the area is quiet. It does not seem there's any additional people coming.
Okay.
Meg, you're pretty sure about that. Like
Okay.
with a 6, you're focused, honed in, and you can tell that it's silent. Gwen, the biker that you're examining, he's got like khaki shorts. He's got a wallet which is inside, which is full of money, and an ID which is from. Probably he would actually have a United States ID, but I don't know if they would actually carry those. He does. He just has a driver's license from the United States. And he's got a tattoo on his shoulders. He's got a USMC tattoo. So it looks like he was military at one point. And he's very dead. There doesn't seem to be anything additional on him. He does have a rifle. It looks to be a M16 fully automatic rifle. And that's about it from him.
I would take the ID and maybe one of obviously we aren't in the modern age where we can just hook up to the satellite and start identifying someone, but back in a town or something, they might be able to figure out who this person is.
Okay. Yep. There's clear identification from him, so that would be possible theoretically.
I'm just going to be real interested to know if this phone's going to ring anytime soon.
I'm gonna drop what's left of this road flare, see what's down the hole, and if it cooks off some excess gas, so be it. I don't imagine there's much left after the explosion, but
Okay. Yeah, you drop it down. It illuminates the tunnel at the very bottom, and nothing ignites. It just kind of burns there, that dull red.
sure.
Let's hit him where it hurts. Let's make some international phone calls.
So I think it's safe to go down.
It's not our dime.
there was still gas, I imagine we would have seen a lot more from that flare than what we're seeing. I know some of you are a bit shaken, but it's not the time to dally here.
I would like to come over to Roland and say, Mr. Van Owen, a quick word in your ear.
Should take a while for that natural gas to build back up.
Yes, and hopefully if it does, we'll notice from the flares in time to get out of there.
Could you come with me just for a moment, Mr. Van Owen? I'm going to walk you over to here and show you the shell casings.
Okay.
Thought this might be of note. Certainly the previous investigators had many ways that they could have died. This might be one of them.
GM, I have a really decent firearm skill. Would I have anything in my expertise that would help me identify what these came from?
You don't have to roll for that. It's actually very easy for anybody who's proficient with firearms to tell. This isn't some World War II Japanese weird rifle caliber shell. This is a 45 ACP. There's 5 different shells that you're able to kind of like piece together or pick around from the area. What you could still do is roll a firearms check for something else, but you can tell what it is. It's 45 ACP.
Okay. And would I know, being a man of the world who's proficient in firearms, would I know who is most likely to carry this gun? If it's associated with any specific country, or is it a...
It's American-made pistol. It's automatic Colt pistol. So if you roll a firearms check for me, real quick. 5 successes. So you can determine that the shells, the trajectory from where they would have been extracted from a pistol would have been all fired probably at the same time from one person standing about where probably Meg is. The pistol casings are maybe 15 feet away from there, or 10 feet probably. And
this is an execution.
it was some sort of rapid fire, bang, 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 bang type of a thing. And then with the 5 successes, you know that Ronan carries a 357 Magnum. That's a revolver. You know that Gwen carries a revolver. You carry, I think, a pistol. Meg, I don't know if you've shown him your pistol before, but you carry a 9mm.
I don't think you've seen it, yeah.
I carry a Walther, and mine's like
Yeah.
right there in a chest holster,
Yeah.
so everyone's
So
seen it.
yours would be a 9mm too if it's a Walther. The only 45 you've seen is actually when Emmett Flisk was in the cabin and he was like looking out the window. He had a US 1911 45 caliber pistol.
Ooh.
That's, what I was just about to say is, I feel like
I'm
I've
thinking
seen a match to these before.
Yes, I'm thinking when we go down that tunnel, we don't leave Mr. Flisk up here as our only chance of
Agreed.
getting back up.
Agreed.
I'm thinking I'll go down first, and I want him to be second.
All right. I'm never going to let him get behind me, and I will keep an eye on your back. And on his, for that matter.
So Gwen and Ronan, you're still over kind of by the clearing. What are you both doing?
I'm just kind of like looking around right now, just chilling. But
Nursing your
keeping an
wounds.
eye out. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, roll perception. And then Gwen.
Keeping an eye out. Also checking maybe the wound bandaging up of Ronan was fairly quick. I was just kind of making sure that nothing is bleeding or the bandage, the medicine is still in place, holding.
You think you did about the best that you could. He is still bleeding. There's a through wound on the back that you can maybe add a little bit more gauze, but yeah, you did the best that you could with the resources that you immediately had. So, yeah. Flisk is done examining the upper bike. Kind of makes his way back down over to the both of you and asks Roland, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, should be fine. I just, well, I don't really remember what happened after the fact that I got shot, but yeah, I'm here.
Mr. Van Owen executed them. He's going to begin to go look at the tractor next, I think, and see the damage to that.
Sorry about the tractor.
No response.
You're still not driving the Jeep.
I was about to say, if there was more people, we still had another vehicle. Just saying.
Right.
We have
Well, as I
motorcycles.
said, I
It's
think
fine.
we're in the clear now. We're here. The damage is done. We might as well explore the tunnels. Someone can lower me down, and then maybe Mr. Flisk, you can follow. You can use your expertise down there. You know this place better than any of us.
So Flisk can catch this just as he's coming back, kind of shaking his head. The tractor's upside down the ravine. I'm not going back down there.
Look, we may have fought these men off, but it's not exactly safe for you to be up here on your lonesome.
That's probably not safe for us to go down there. You saw the explosion. Half of my team died down there. I don't want to die the same way.
I saw the explosion, and I also see the road flare showing that you don't have to worry about any gas right now.
Roll a diplomacy check? Bureaucracy I could accept
Roland
as well.
has diplomacy.
Could intimidate if you want. Any of those charisma skills I will allow.
Do I have intimidation?
Can I I know that advantage isn't a thing, but
Can
There's
I buy a
assists.
level of intimidation?
If you have experience for it, yes.
Okay.
I would love to come over and just touch Flisk on the arm and just kind of look up at him, because, Meg is little tiny, and say, when I was down there, I almost wasn't able to get Mr. Van Owen out. I didn't have the strength to do it, and Ronan's hurt, so I really think we could use your muscle down.
I'm throwing both of my points into this, by the way,
Okay.
and I'm going to try intimidation and impress upon him the need to not swirl the party right now.
So before you roll, I will allow, because Meg is doing a much more persuasive, more diplomatic type of an assist.
Bad cop.
And I'm going to toss a style point in if you're going to let me roll something for
Well,
the eyelash flutter in particular.
Well, I think they don't coincide together 100%.
Okay.
Like being nice and then being intimidation. I don't think your assist is going to be as effective as what I was going to say. So instead of a +2, I would just give a +1. I think if that's
Really?
fair.
This is classic good cop, bad cop.
It's true.
Earn
It
the
kind of
stick.
is.
Earn the stick.
Let's try it on Adrian. Come on, Adrian.
Given his personality, I don't think he would go from happy to not happy very well. So you can add in a style point if you wanted to give him an extra bonus.
I will
give
give
him the
a
+2.
style point. Yep, I will absolutely
All right, so
toss a
between
style
her
point.
style point and my style points, I'm getting a plus. Since I put in 2, she put in 1. I get a +3 total.
Correct.
Or
Wait,
+4.
Wait, are there? Yeah, there's one assist. So, and then if there's 3
right.
style points, then you get a +4 total.
Well then.
Okay. He kind of looks from Meg and then back over to Roland, and Roland, he gives you kind of like the stink eye, but then he's like, "All right, but you go down first."
I was planning on it.
Gwen very loudly and with no context just yells.
I grab the rope
Wait,
and I kind of.
Sorry,
Gwen very loudly and without any context goes, "Canaries!"
Canaries?
Right, that's what we use the fuse for, Gwen.
Well, when miners go into mines to know if it's safe, they bring a canary in a cage.
Right, that's what we just use the fuse for. If there had been a problem, it would have exploded again. I mean, having more canaries wouldn't hurt, I suppose, but
The problem is if we're carrying another road flare with us and we walk into a pocket, and
Yep.
it takes us
I
all
don't
the way
know
to
if we
hell.
can catch a bird in this. We probably scare them all off.
yeah, we're not gonna. We don't have time for that. I agree that we need to get down there before the gas builds up again. Hey, DM, out of
Yep.
character. Have we heard how the previous team died from anyone other than Flisk?
Let me remember back to you're going to the camp. You did talk to Blattmore a little bit, but I don't think he said anything about the other team. I think it was Flisk who was talking at that point, if I remember correctly. Out of character, Roland was made aware the other team, or part of the other team, had been killed, but there was no context or detail beyond that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I am going over to the rope, and I'm gonna have someone lower me down.
Flisk will assist with that.
Okay. I assume Meg's keeping an eye on Flisk because at this moment there's not a lot of trust there.
You asked him to help you go down.
Oh, well, I said someone. Yeah, and then once I get down, I'll motion for Flisk to come next.
He does. No rolls are needed to descend down. It's okay. As you get to the bottom, the flare at your feet, there's like rubble and dirt from where the previous explosion in Breach 6 had opened the tunnel. Now you kind of stand down looking to the south with your big flashlight. You can see that chamber that had been blockaded is blown open enough to where someone could kind of crawl through. And then to the north, that just extends. That leads up to where the bodies were.
All right. Well, I'm not going back to the tunnel with the bodies. I've learned my lesson.
Okay.
I'm going to start going through the tunnel that we just cleared.
Like to go ahead and come down.
Okay.
Yeah. After Flisk, I'm assuming Meg would follow because she's supposed to be watching my back, and then
Okay, let me grab
the
Meg
rest of
too.
the team.
What about Gwen and Ronan?
Gwen would follow after Meg, just in case there needs to be some. Even though he's injured, he's probably better with a gun than. So, have someone military in the back and the front.
Okay. And Ronan, are you descending down as well?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. You kind of probably make a cinch with yourself on the rope and kind of lower yourself down. You can get down without any issue as well. And you all kind of are in this tunnel area. This breach has been opened up.
Roland, do you want to keep carrying the mag light, or would you like me to do it so that it's behind you a bit and so that you have hands free?
I think that makes a lot of sense. That way I can unshoulder my fell, and I have that ready. Just
Yeah. So I've got mag light in one
which, by the
hand
way,
and
Gwen,
pistol in the other.
I have reloaded the FAL during the downtime.
Yep. Yeah, weapons can all be that's a good point, because some people have revolvers. Those take a little bit more reloading. But yeah, you can all top off your weapons.
I'm not pulling a Becca from our pulp campaign and having the gun with no bullets.
Okay.
Gwen says, I would like to see these bodies, see if they are modern or ancient. Well,
If you would like to go back up there where the toxic gas is, feel free.
hopefully where the toxic gas was, not is.
Gas was a lot thicker up there. Probably cooked off a lot of it with the explosion, but hold your breath.
Oh, and Meg advises everybody to tie a scarf or a handkerchief for wet.
Okay.
Revolver in one hand and flashlight in the other. She would tie a scarf and then.
What's in your second hand or your first hand?
A revolver
Okay.
in one hand and flashlight in the other.
Okay. Yep. Are you going north?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Flisk is remaining in the middle, just kind of watching you go, kind of looking at the rest of the party. He's like still here, actually.
Well, then I would definitely casually maneuver, so that I'm
Mhm.
not between him and Roland.
Okay.
So I just
So,
kind of casually walk over and watch Gwen walk down the tunnel.
okay. Flisk kind of looks back at Roland almost as if he's deferring to maybe you're the leader and like, are we going south or north? But he doesn't say anything. He's just kind of like watching, and he's holding a mag light too. He's just kind of like shining one direction then
Yeah.
the other, and
And
like,
as long as I have a light, I'm gonna kind of work my way down the southern tunnel a little bit.
okay, he will begin to
Not
follow
getting
you.
too far from where the rest of the party is. Not getting too far because I know everyone else is headed north, but I'm going to see what's past the.
If you start moving, I'll start moving.
So at this point, Ronan, are you following Gwen? You said, or no?
Yeah. I'll go north.
Okay. All right. So the passageway to the north is longer before there's any like activity. There's, I think we said it was 100 feet or yards. I can't remember which end, but it's a little bit further, and then it kind of angles to the right a little bit, a natural bend in the tunnel. So as you proceed up there, you can see the walls are black from like almost soot, like the fire that had just burned. It has left some sort of coat of carbon or something along all the rock walls, and you proceed north. No checks are required. Meg and Roland. Sorry, background noise. Roland, you leading the way to the south, you get to the area where it's been caved in, and I would like for you to roll an investigation check. And then Emmett's kind of following behind. Meg, you can roll an empathy check if you're watching him, it sounds like.
Thank you. Yes, that is my main concern.
Okay. Investigation check, you said?
Yes.
This is not gonna go. This is not gonna go
Don't
great.
have it.
If you don't have investigation, then don't worry about it.
Okay.
You can roll perception instead. What I was having you roll for wasn't exactly.
Oh, perception I'm really good at.
Yeah. Okay, so perception. Yeah, so you can see as you're kind of looking around with the flashlight, as you get to this choke point where everything had been collapsed, you can tell that the original collapse of this corridor had been caused by explosives as well. You can see the beams that are outlining this tunnel were blown, and then just the rubble began to cascade and knock itself down. The charges that you set and the one that had the previous team had set as well had blown through that, so now there's this little crawl space you can get through to the other side of the tunnel. And beyond that's just more pitch black darkness. Meg, you can see Emmett is looking primarily the direction of where his flashlight is. He's looking at the edge of the walls where the old explosives from however long ago it was, and he seems
Okay.
very more interested in that than whatever Roland is doing, until Roland gets to the point where he's either going to crawl through the space or not.
Right. So I'm just gonna say, what are you finding of interest, Mr. Flisk?
These tunnels are made some 30 years ago or more. The Japanese caused this, I'm pretty sure. But why?
What do you mean? Caused what exactly?
The cave-in, you can see, and he points up to the ground, points
Oh.
out the places where there's clear explosion marks where detonators had blown the timber and caused in a strategic demolished, demolitions have been sent to collapse the corridor. He's like, why would they do that? This is why I think the treasure's down here. And
It is a pretty good means of protection, I suppose. Crude but effective.
then
I'm
you
going to
point.
light a match.
Oh, good.
Not a flare, just a match.
Okay.
And I'm going to toss it through the breach, and if there's not a fireball or something, I'm going to crawl after it.
Okay.
Instructing someone to hold the mag light and give me as much visibility as possible.
Okay, so there's the light, and you're just gonna toss it through. So this crawl space is probably about maybe 2 feet wide and maybe 3 or 4 feet long. So it's not that far to get to the other side of this cave in. But you just throw the match through that opening. Okay. Boom! There's an explosion, and I need you to roll a body check. Well, actually, hold on. Is it body? Because it would be more of like jumping out of the way because of the hole
It
is
would be a
small.
full-on defense roll because it's partly my jumping out of the way and partly my enduring the fireball.
Okay. Fair. Go for it. I'm going to use what I did last time, which I think was 6 dice.
Oh dear.
And Flisk is also in the vicinity. Meg, I'm thinking you're probably going to get a bonus to your defense. I'm going to have you roll as well.
Okay.
I'm going to give Emmett a +1 and you a +2 to the defense. This is the fire. Oh, okay, not bad. And then...
Fine, I still have my eyebrows.
Oops. I forgot his +1, but he's okay. So everybody's actually okay as the gas in the chamber just ignites all of the air in the corridor, and then a funnel of flame comes out the other side. You jump out of the way. Emmett drops, and Meg, you kind of dodge to the side as well. And it doesn't extend that far out and dissipates pretty quick, but that explosion kind of rocks the chamber a little bit. And to the north, Gwen and Ronan. Let me make sure my lighting is correct. Things should be hidden. You round the bend, and it doesn't take long before your flashlights begin to illuminate the shape of bodies strewn about the floor. Up ahead, you can see what looks to be a doorway, a closed door, like a wooden, just a flat wooden door. And there's just corpses. The smell here smells charred because of the recent explosion, but it also smells rotted, like just expired meat, dead bodies.
I don't want to get. I mean, I want to figure out if these bodies have been here 30, 40 years, or if they've been here just a couple weeks. But
by just looking at them with the flashlight, these look decayed and old. These are definitely not recent. If you want to get up close, you could roll a medicine or investigation check and try to see that way, but then you'd be getting all up in their business.
I'll look at one. I don't want to. I mean, if they're decayed, don't want to do an autopsy or look at closely at every single one of them. But one that wouldn't hurt.
Okay. They looking down at them. They're small in stature. They're wearing kind of rags which have all been singed away mostly, and then kind of the shrunken skin looks to be like, yeah, they've just been about 30 years old. Seems to be accurate, but that's about it. They're maybe locals or maybe Japanese. You can't really tell.
Well, these bodies were definitely here from the original time these tunnels were in use. Roland didn't mention a door, but I don't think we should go be messing with that just yet. I mostly want to check out if these were recent or old bodies.
Sorry, go ahead.
Should we get the others before we continue? Because, I feel like if we go to do anything with that door, we should at least have some backup.
Yeah, but at least we figured out a couple things. So let's head back and tell them what we found. They may have news for us as well.
At that point, you hear the distant explosion that just occurred down the hall. That sounds like another gas explosion going off.
Great, he probably tried to heal somebody again.
Okay, that's funny.
Gotta go check on that.
Side of the wall to make worried that the explosion is going to continue down the tunnel. When nothing happens, she looks to the door, makes sure it's not opening, and then to him, and just a small, just a smile. It's like bad joke, but bad joke, but kind of funny. It's kind of like the expression on her face.
Nice. So, are you wanting to return back?
Yeah,
Yes,
I mostly wanted to know how old these bodies were. I wasn't expecting to find something interesting like this.
Okay. And did
I
you
try
want
to patch myself up while on the way back, like just kind of like bandaging myself as we're walking.
You may attempt a medicine roll. Yes.
Okay. Don't fail me now, please. I was making fun of him, but come on, karma.
So you can convert one lethal into a non-lethal. So on your character sheet, and I hate these character sheets. I'm just going to use 2 bars on your token because the 0.5 didn't really work the last time. So the blue bar is non-lethal. So you have
You
one.
may be able to convert these character sheets to the other one if you switch what character sheet the game uses.
I can, but I don't know if they transfer yet, and I didn't have time because I was thinking about doing that last week. So you actually are on what, 2 health and 1 non-lethal now.
Something like that.
I'm just gonna make a note, pen and paper.
Pen and paper. That works.
Okay. How's your T-shirt doing? Are you using that for bandages?
I mean, yes, but I sort of always kind of have like a little medical kit with me. I don't know if it has any.
Okay. Yeah.
It
Do you
should
have?
have some sort of something on.
Yeah. You probably have medical tape in your like gauze, putting additional gauze on because you got hit in the chest a little bit. You probably have a strapped medical thing.
It's kind of like a little hunter's pack sort of thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever seen those. Like they're kind of like pocket size. They have
Yeah.
everything in it.
Yeah. So it's probably not a whole lot of gauze to do the whole thing, but you can
No,
make
no,
shift. Yeah, as you come down, you can see Meg and Roland. What are you doing? Emmett's picking himself up, coughing.
When I see them coming, I just go, "Hey, it's fine. Roland was just using a match as a canary."
At this point, now that we've done that, I'm going to throw a flare through.
Oh my god!
Keep cooking off the gas as it builds back up, and so I can see. If there's another fireball, I'm just going to leave it alone.
This is going to be a real short campaign.
Giving you a style point for being. What's your flaw? Do you have like?
It's not that he's a pyromaniac.
Pyromaniac. He's seen that one explosion. He's like, I need to do it again. I have to do it again.
Would say
I've tasted the flame, and I want more.
I want more.
Gwen would say
flaw is his
Gwen would say
intolerance for communists.
What, Gwen?
Gwen would say explosive canary.
Explosive canary.
So, yeah, as you come up, you can see this, and then the lighting of another thing tossing it through. Emmett's probably like, "No, wait, you idiot!" But nothing happens. The chamber beyond is lit. It looks like more of this type of passageway minus the rails, and seems to extend to the south.
All right, I'm gonna go through the hole and.
Before you get too far, before you get
flare, will keep cooking off any additional.
Roland, before you get too far, we found the bodies are definitely from 30, 40 years ago, and there's a wooden door back there.
A door.
North.
Carry on.
Emmett seems to be more interested in that and comes up to Gwen. What did you go open the door? What's inside?
We thought it best to report back before we opened the door.
I'm not too excited about getting myself killed with his flare, so maybe I'll go up and look at the door. Maybe the treasure's up there. He's going to push past you and begin to move north.
That seems way too easy, Emmett.
Perhaps luck's finally on our side. And Roland, are you moving south?
I am.
Okay. You begin to move down the tunnel. It's fairly straight, except for maybe an
And
occasional.
once I get to the flare, I'm going to toss it ahead of me a little bit to keep the light ahead of me and kind of do this as I do. Just
Okay. So there doesn't seem to be any more explosions for a little bit. There's probably one more point when you get further down, that when you throw it, it does seem to ignite something, and you can see that there's maybe like where one of the natural gas springs is, kind of like ignites, but then kind of dissipates pretty quick because it hasn't rebuilt into the whole tunnel. But you are able to move south pretty clear. Is anyone following you?
I am going to keep an eye on Emmett, but from a further distance, because if he opens that door and there's something there, I want to be able to get away.
Okay.
one of us is going to find treasure, one of us is going to find monsters.
I don't want to fight death.
It'd be both in both locations, I'm just saying.
I mean, let's be honest. This guy's throwing flares for explosions, and this guy wants to open a door with like 8 dead bodies in front of it. I'm kind of wondering if it's safer up top.
How about for Gwen and Meg? What are you both doing?
I'm coming with Roland.
Okay, going south. Okay.
Gwen isn't sure who to follow at the moment. But I think after hesitating, she would just tell the Meg and Roland to be careful, and she's gonna stick with Roland, following Fish but at a distance.
Okay, so you're going north.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the path south is now the longer one. So as Roland and Meg make their way, it slopes down, as you can tell that you're moving actually lower in elevation as it follows the mountainside, moving back down towards the base. And it descends for several minutes. The constant throwing of the flare up ahead keeps the room, like the chamber, clear, and eventually you get to another pile of rocks. This does not look to be like a detonated chamber. It looks to be like more strategically people have put rocks here and piled them up. But it does, regardless, block the passageway.
Oh. I don't think we have enough fuse to put enough distance to risk dynamiting this again.
Mm-mm.
We're going to move through here. We'll have to dig, and I think that's going to require all of us. I think we have to take it back to the others and get a vote.
Can I take a closer look and just see if there might be any way that, someone of Meg's size and agility could scramble through, or is there any place where it looks like if we move some rubble strategically, then we'll get a little landslide in our favor?
I will let you roll a survival check for that, I think.
Okay.
So you can tell that over the years, these piled rocks, which are kind of almost laid like bricks in the way that they've been fashioned, the sediment has bound together pretty strongly. If you had like a pickaxe or something, you could probably dig it out, and you can assume that it's not very thick, whereas the others was like 3 or 4 feet. This is probably more like a wall barrier that was like seal off the tunnel entrance or something like that. It definitely is man crafted, but there's no openings to try to slither through or anything. This has to be dismantled.
I think I'll tell Roland that and just say, I feel like, if we had a pickaxe or something like that, we could just like punch through this a bit and then start pulling. It doesn't seem, it's a wall. It's not a pile of rocks. It's a wall.
Can we see any such tools at the dig site?
Up at the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like shovels and picks and stuff by the graves that looked like he had mostly used the tractor to dig that.
Gwen had a shovel in her inventory, but I imagine it's like a small, kind of collapsible shovel if she's carrying it. And I have a crowbar. But, yeah, those might help in the future.
So up at the north, Emmett kind of makes his way, kind of swears under his breath as he sees all the bodies, but pretty much disregards them and goes up to the door. And then he just sits there looking at it with the flashlight without touching it, and he does this in silence for probably 5 minutes, just kind of slowly looking at everything, still not touching it. And unless any of you interrupt him, he just does that.
I would like to say, like, I would yell out, or not yell out, but like tell him, I'd be like, if you don't trust the door, why don't we tie this rope here to the door handle and we just stand back here and yank it?
He takes he looks back at you and just nods, and then kind of carefully takes out a Bowie knife and lifts the latch. It's like a circular handle, and just examines it really careful. It's like he doesn't trust anything about it. But once he can tell it can move, he agrees, and like you can start tying the rope around it. And he
While I'm tying the rope, can I also kind of like listen to hear? Like he was examining the door, but I don't know if he was like listening to see if he heard anything on the other side. Can I see if I can hear anything while tying this rope on the other side?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll perception, and if you wish, an investigation. And Gwen, if you're here too, this is like 5 minutes of him just kind of doing this. So unless you want to jump in or
Perception and investigation.
Yeah, those are for two different things. So if you want both of them, roll both.
Okay, perception.
There wasn't any writing on the door or anything, was there? It's just like a old wooden door?
Go ahead and roll perception. Actually, no, I think that would be investigation because it's...
Yeah. Investigation is here, and I'm going to use a style point for this. Can I use a style point? Yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe?
You can.
Okay.
I'm going to use a style point as well.
And I will... What does that give me? Like, I just typed 1, right?
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
So as you kind of both move, Emmett kind of stands aside. He looks to be more looking at the ceiling now. Just he's paranoid about maybe something falling on them, or tripwires, or explosives, or something like that. And actually, if you want, you can roll an empathy check. But you both can tell that the wooden door is made out of a strong wood. It swings outwards. So yeah, if someone was trying to like ram it, then that would be more stronger. So it swings outwards into the chamber, or is that backwards?
Are you saying it would be better to ram it, or is it pull out towards us?
Like if you're trying to have something secure, you actually want it to swing inward so you can bar it easier, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's
I would
safer
think
if it's it's safer if it's a door that you'd have to push open for us. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Well, it's whichever is stronger. I guess it would swing inwards.
Okay, so it goes the other direction.
Yeah.
So really couldn't do the rope thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
I mean, I can ready my pistol on somebody kick the door open.
Yeah, Emmett does not seem to be excited about that. Gwen and Ronan, you can both see that there are a lot of scratch marks on the wall, on the door, almost like fingernails have been clawing at it, but there are no inscriptions or anything, no writing.
This is just conjecture, but if this door is trying to keep someone from this side out, and the tunnel collapsed back there, these people were probably trapped trying to get out this door.
Yeah, they were probably trying to get in to safety.
I mean, they were trying to get into the door from this side, and then just came to the gas.
But who would have not let their people, their workers, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they would have had time. It's just gas.
Okay. Meg and Roland, in the southern chamber. Have you decided, are you going to try to excavate with whatever you have, or are you moving back north?
I'm gonna defer to Meg on this one. If she wants to go get a pickaxe and just proceed, I'll go with that plan. If we want to get the rest of the party and I dig through it as a team, we're also
I
good at doing that.
I think that um I admit that a tunnel with a wall built to close it piques my interest quite a bit. So I think I would like to try to get through there. What do you think?
I'm all for getting through there. I guess my question is, do we involve the rest of the team?
Have several answers to that. And I suppose the best one at this point, perhaps the most politic one, is let's walk back and we can tell them what we found. And then if they want to keep heading off on their own, then they head off on their own.
Right, and here's the thing. I'm supposed to be keeping this team alive, and I can't very well be doing that if Flisk is with the others.
That's a good point. Is that the only reason you're here, Mr. Van Allen?
That's the only reason I'm hired to be here.
What an interesting partial answer.
You may try an investigation or diplomacy check, and you might get more out of him.
I suppose that if I were to ask for a more complete answer, probably wouldn't be very lucky, would I be, Mr. Van Owen?
Let's just say, I think we were all offered compensation for this job, and we're all offered compensation to be part of this team, and there was something offered to me that I very much want to collect on.
Interesting. I've been doing a little bit of number crunching in the last couple of hours. I already pointed out to you what a great amount of expense has been poured into what we've seen already.
Mm-hmm.
I find that I am doing some calculations about the compensation that I've been offered compared to whatever it is that we're going to find.
Basically, we're wondering if the treasure is going to be enough to cover the expenses, and if not, we have to wonder if they're ever going to pay us.
That, or perhaps more interestingly, the other way around.
If we're getting the raw end of the deal.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
Back up the north cavern. Ronan and Gwen. The door, like I said, doesn't have inscriptions on it. You can see just these claw marks from people having tried to force their way through, and you can put two and two together that these bodies were probably those people.
And I didn't hear anything, correct? Or did I?
The conversation from the south end? No. This is from...
No, I mean from behind the door.
If these bodies were trying to force their way through this door, what makes us think we can just grab the handle and open this?
True.
Neither of you heard anything beyond the door.
I don't hear anything, and to be honest, it just looks like a door. I mean, we'd have to like knock it in, but I mean, if we're that weary of it, like one of us can knock it in, and I'll just be at the ready to shoot.
Well, it could explode. That's what I'm worried about. The Japs were incredibly.
Traps.
They were known for this kind of stuff. I mean, if you want to put your shoulder to it, I'll cheer you on. Perhaps we can go back and get Roland, and he can assist. He seems daredevil enough to pull all the tripwires in this warren.
So, my question is if you're that weary, then why did you come with us?
It's bloody treasure, man.
But we
Seems
don't
like
see any signs of traps on this side of the door. So that doesn't mean there isn't a switch or something that's triggered when the door opens on the other side.
Do you want to just try the handle? Maybe we're lucky.
You know what? You only live once. I jiggle the handle and I open the door.
It's locked. It's barred. It doesn't move. But nothing happens. Nothing blows up.
Hey, the handle's
that?
good, but the door doesn't move.
Remarkable luck with road flares this evening.
Yeah, as you do, like it's not like 100% solid. It's like you turn it and go, and it's like you can tell it's barred on the other side.
Can I try to kick it?
That would be, I'd say, it's
Head
either
up with
raw
the door?
strength or athletics, but I think it's raw strength for just kicking a solid object.
For 30 years, I mean, the wood could be rotted and we might be have better luck.
I'm going to use a style point just to try to get this door open.
What would it be?
Athletics or strength?
I'm pretty sure it's raw strength. Athletics is for like doing athletic things. Kicking is just how strong are you at kicking something.
Can I use a style point on strength? Okay.
Yeah, you can use style points on whatever rolls you want. Yep.
Okay. Please let me kick the door down.
With a 4, you give it one solid crunch, and you feel it splinter a little bit up by where the hinges are, and then a second crunch, and then you hear a clatter of metal as whatever piece on the top has fallen free from kind of this old wood, and then a third kick, and the door gives way and buckles off the top hinge and collapses inwards, and you have
Good, Roland.
opened the door. I will need to know, are Meg and Roland, are you still in the south passageway?
I think we started heading back.
I feel like we were doing a walk and talk.
So that conversation was you headed north. So both of you roll perception checks. You are now about at the opening of Breech 6. So you can see the sunlight kind of vaguely pouring down. It doesn't reach the bottom, but you can see kind of the illumination from it. And then in the distance from the north passage, Meg, you can hear, and Roland, you can also hear this thud, 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 crunch as in the distance you can hear from further up the passageway, Ronan has broken into this room.
That does not sound like a canary.
Good news, Ronan is dead.
What you see in front of you is a old storage room, wood boards on the floor, straw strewn about, very old. You see what looks to be some sort of what would it be called? Like a shrine almost, at which you see a figure kind of knelt down in a Japanese officer's uniform. This is the best I could find. But
Lord.
He is kind of knelt down, facing this
Fucking
this
dead
altar.
figure, right?
As far as Ronan can see, shining his light in, it is an unmoving, almost like the same as these ones, all withered and dead. Surrounding him on the either flank as you kind of scan the room, you see another two on each side, Japanese soldiers that are all kind of in that same position. And I will have you roll a perception check, Ronan, at the front of the door.
You can see that I chose the wrong room. I'm sorry, guys.
I don't really like room for me to look into.
Is that a 3?
Yep.
You can see these 5 dead soldiers have kind of surrounded themselves in a kind of, I guess I should actually try to move these a little bit, the tokens. They're in kind of like a wedge formation facing the shrine, so they're kind of more like this.
That's the flying V.
And they have all stabbed themselves in like a ritualistic suicide, and they are all facing that. And they are all kind of still in that position, shrunk down onto themselves. And at the shrine, you also see the glint of gold. Oh, let me put that on the map.
I turn around, I look at them, and I go, guys, I don't trust it. There's gold in here, but before you start running off in there, there is a shrine, there's dead bodies, and I do not trust it. Anybody here that can look at this, and I will show them, like, before they even get in there, I'm shining my light to hope that they see it. There is a shrine and dead soldiers that have sacrificed themselves in the middle of this room.
And then, this is why I was included in the team.
Emmett is like, at the word of gold, he's like up there with his light. As soon as he saw you did not blow up upon kicking open this door, he seems to be very eager to get inside.
And GM, please let us know when we've caught up with them, because I'm assuming once we hear the...
Yeah, are you kind of like a jog run, trying to get back up to them? Or are you walking?
No, I
Shove them in
think
there.
once we heard that sound, as I said, my job is to keep these people alive, and I'd want to make sure that they weren't my hard work to waste.
Just toss Emmett in there. Just
throw another.
You can do it. I believe
another
in you.
flare.
Just lands beside
Emmett.
my foot.
Emmett. Just toss Emmett in there.
Gwen, what are you doing?
Gwen is going to move up to the opening of the door and shine the flashlight around and try to get a good look at the room before entering it.
Okay. As you shine your light around, you're trying to look over to the right side as well, like peeking inside? Okay. You can see the room extends over. There is a table. There's a lot of boxes. Some are open. Some have containers of maybe munitions, it looks like. Some are open with boxes of food, which there's a lot of empty cans and stuff around those sections. And then there's a door further up. But over in the top portion there, you can see the shrine, and indeed there is a gold, what looks to be a statue, almost of that like a Buddha or something, some sort of Japanese shrine is there. And then the guards roll a academics check, and you don't think are in Japanese, so this would be at a -2.
I only need to use one of my my things, so a grand total of -1 then.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can see that these Japanese soldiers, they did kill themselves with almost like the ancient samurai committing harakiri to themselves. But it seems to be in some sort of ritual way with the shrine there and the gold statue. You get a bad feeling. These soldiers probably sealed in whoever was on the other side there and let them just die, and then they killed themselves.
I've got to get a look at that shrine, but I've got a bad feeling about this room. It's not. I don't think. Wait, what is this? Is this a stairwell?
That's supposed to be a crate. No, there's no stairwell there. That's a box. Sorry.
It doesn't look like this is the big treasure, but there's definitely something worth investigating in here.
Okay. You
To be honest, I think we should wait for our two members to catch back up with us.
you do hear boots behind you, kind of the hustled footsteps, and since no one has actually gone and everyone's being more cautious,
I will, just as a joke, pull out my call and do a canary call.
Okay. Roland and Meg, you begin to come up. You see the bodies here strewn about. Meg, you got a glimpse of these before, but you were so focused on other stuff that it's kind of like, oh, wow. Yeah, you can see the door open. Gwen kind of peering in right now with her flashlight. Emmett and Ronan at her flanks.
I'm assuming Roland is pretty much desensitized to bodies, being a mercenary.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go and try to look over. You know,
Can I give them a gist of what we just saw or what we see, and then just give them a rundown what's in there?
Yeah, the door's still there. No one's actually gone in. Emmett looks like he is dying to go in and look around, but something's keeping him back.
right. If I notice that, I'm gonna look. Those men are dead. I'm going to insist on going in first. Anything happens,
I really want to take a look at that shrine and that desk, but just have a bad feeling about the way they're lined up ritualistically.
I think there'll be plenty of time to look at everything once we've made sure that.
I've never actually seen a zombie, but something tells me, or undead guardian, or mummies in tombs.
Look,
But
I'm not entirely sure this is one of those movies.
I can tell you, I
Before
believe.
you go in, sorry, go ahead.
Emmett just looks at you kind of like you're crazy again, just like when up at the service you were talking about Egyptian stuff. He's like, I believe fully in Japanese booby traps, but you must be joking about the ghost stories.
What are you so scared of, Emmett?
some of the stories are certainly exaggerations of reality.
So, since Meg heard that there was a shrine, she would like to come up and take a look and see if it's anything she's familiar with. Just, peering through the door here with Gwen and shining the flashlight particularly on that.
I can tell there's something I need to look at that, but I can't get a good look from here.
Yeah, I just want to see if she recognizes the statues. It's something Shinto or something else. Is the basic shape something familiar in terms of like what would be in family homes, or is this something else?
Okay. Yes, you can see past it with the light. It's probably a little obscured because of the kind of guard who's dead in front of it. But you can also make the academics roll. Now, you do not have a specialization listed, but I think you said it was in Japan, so.
Japanese history, actually. Yeah.
So I'll put
Japanese
that in
military history. Okay. So
you do not need to have any penalty. You can just roll straight. Okay. You can tell that it is a statuette of what's it called? It's like of Buddha, because that's probably what they had at the time. It's made out of solid gold. The shrine itself seems to be what's more important to whatever it is that they were doing. This is some sort of ritual shrine, perhaps, in the final death with the Harakiri there, or their ceremonial death rather, and the gold statue, which doesn't really fit because I don't think that's much more like Chinese, but it looks to be made out of solid gold, and that might be
Right.
something to do with something else. With it being a shrine, it's almost as if this is some sort of ritual.
And yeah, if it's a Buddha, that's the kind of thing that got imported to Japan from somewhere else in terms of belief systems, if I recall correctly.
You would also know that the Japanese, the treasure from Yamashita, it was encompassed of all kinds of loot that the Japanese armies had
Right.
taken from all over, and they were in China a lot
Right.
pre-World War
Yep.
II. So this
Okay.
is very probably from what you're looking for.
Okay. And as she's kind of peering and trying to look a little bit closer at that shrine, can she take a look at those larger crates back behind it?
You can try to take a look at it. They're
Pretty far.
enclosed boxes, so you can see that there's hay and stuff sticking out because they are open.
Mhm.
But from here and with no light except for your one flashlight or the couple that are all shining inside, that's about as good as you can get. You'd have to go
Okay.
inside to see.
What if she just turns and addresses everybody else? What if we just shoot that fellow before we even go in?
I don't feel like it's going to be that easy. I mean, we can, but if he is alive, then there's a reason he survived this long.
If he's alive, he's probably one of the people who hid the treasure in the first place. And last time I checked, our job was retrieval.
All right. I just go to pull out my gun. Roland, get over here.
So I take up position by the door as I don't have the investigation skill. Um,
With So who's getting up close to the door with a gun? Ronan, are
I
you?
am
I'm
in.
taking cover right here so I can see through the door, and I'm kind of covering it with my Walther. But I
Okay.
don't have investigation. I'm not the guy to go in and check for traps.
Okay.
If there's a trap involving bombs, I'm the guy who could disarm it.
Emmett's gonna have his light, and he pulls out his 1911, his 45 caliber pistol. Gwen, are you staying in that corner?
Yeah, she's staying in that corner.
Okay.
All right, Roland.
And I've
What do you
fallen
say
back to here.
we shoot at the same time?
Any of these things are alive, yes.
I say we just hit the one right in the middle. We know for a fact the others have killed themselves.
That man appears just as dead as the rest of them, doesn't he?
Yeah, but that's
His
the one we're
back is
worried
to you.
about.
But yeah, he's in the center. He's in an officer's uniform as opposed to more soldiers. But he's in kind of the
think
same
someone needs
position.
to sweep the room. I think someone needs to sweep the room for traps. I don't think we need to go around shooting corpses. That seems redundant.
Well, if it makes the man behind us safe, as he just turns around and sees the man holding a 45 caliber.
I mean, you guys are the ones about to go in to shoot zombies.
Look, if we find somebody living, I'm happy to shoot him. But right now, I think we need to be more concerned about booby traps. To any of your hunter skills,
I mean, I can take a look real quick. I am like I kind of know a bit about since I'm a hunter,
Yeah.
about traps. So I'll take a look with my flashlight, like
So
near the front entrance way, just like from here to here, somewhere around there.
Wait. I have a canteen with me. Why don't we just lob it in there and see what happens? It's motion, it's weight.
I mean, you can do that, I guess, but I'm here. I can tell if there's traps usually.
All right. Well,
I mean,
Okay.
I can give it a shot. If I don't
I
see
offered.
anything and you don't trust me, you can roll the canteen.
Yeah, what I was getting at is talking about your hunter skills. It's in character talk for do you have investigation?
Yeah, I have investigation.
I would say you should do an investigation check to see if there are traps, and if there aren't, then we can go in and poke around and let
I
Meg
will.
read all the Japanese things and
I will say
Yeah,
I
I'll
will
just
let your survival give you like a synergy bonus because it's really in tune with hunting stuff for what you're doing. So I'll let you roll with a +2 on your investigation.
okay.
Okay. Do you peer into the room or just from the doorway?
Just like I'm just gonna
So
slowly walk, uh, and just make sure, sort of like just double checking and then moving into the room slowly.
okay. So your first scan, kind of looking around the top of the door frame, it does not seem to have any wires on it, nothing out of the order, just the shattered hinges where you had kicked it in. As you kind of lean in a little bit, you can scan the room a little bit more. You see this desk to the right-hand side seems to have a typewriter, a couple other like, things, pens, and um, stuff just drizzled around. There does not seem to be any signs of explosives or things. This room also
I
smells just musty. It doesn't smell like that kind of gas
I
smell that you smelled
will.
earlier.
I know this is a stretch. I'll just walk up to the guy in the middle and poke him with my gun to see if he moves. Sort of like what you do with like a dead possum on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you enter in. Unless you want to move your token, I can do it.
Yeah, I'll just move up
Okay.
to like right here and poke him with my
Okay.
end of my gun, but
Okay.
like kind of reaching out, sort of thing. Just
Yep.
try to.
You just kind of prod him. The body, you tip it forwards, it just kind of clops to the ground, and you can see this almost not mummified, but like withered, and this corpse just topples over. It's got a knife in its stomach.
I mean, you're right. We would have shot a dead body. You're free to come in.
all right. And then I turn to Meg. I'm like, "You're the only one here who reads the language. Why don't you
Emmett
go and
goes through.
look around and stay out
Moving
here and
here,
watch our
start
backs, see
looking
if
for
anything
stuff.
comes down the tunnel. Any of our friends topside."
I I would suggest we don't touch the gold yet until y'all have investigated more.
Yes, I
Who knows what
imagine.
this is? What this is?
I imagine he's right. If they were going to booby trap anything, it would have been the gold.
I take a look at this circle on the ground.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I say to Roland, yeah, watch our backs and everything else and do a
And
little
I
side eye.
kind of give a nod when I say I'm watching everyone's back for our friends topside. I maybe put a little emphasis on the word friends so she
Hmm.
knows
Gwen.
that yes.
Gwen, go ahead and roll an investigation check with a +2 synergy with your magic. Okay. This is it's first of all, it's very dark. You've got what 5 flashlights kind of pointing in different directions at the different points.
I have a
Uh,
flashlight, but if we are really going to investigate something, I can turn on. I do a lamp. I can turn on too.
okay, if you want to use a lamp, that'll probably make it a lot more easier, as it's more of a flooding the room with light as opposed to just the beams. But you can see that it's kind of painted into the ground and very faded is a circle that they are all within these bodies. However, you don't really recognize it to be anything. Maybe it's some sort of spell from like, it's not Egyptian, but maybe they follow the same lines. You don't remember there being any kind of Egyptian thing that would fit this scenario, but maybe
I'm sure
this.
they have the basic stuff. I mean, like circles of salt is a common thing and other things and
Yeah,
other mystical type of stuff.
it's possible this is something to do with something like that.
Not really wanting to cross it just yet, and not touching it, moving around. Can I get past that cage, or should I go around this way?
It would be better to go around the other way unless you wanted to climb over it. So the big crate is kind of open, and you can see that there's lots of different like stored materials. A lot of it's food and water that has been consumed. There's a lot of empty cans over here. It looks like the 5 people who have been stationed in here kind of bled through all of their supplies up to a certain point, and then kind of ran out.
So she would say out loud. So it looks like these 5 barricaded themselves into what looks like some kind of bunker, and keeping their companions locked out, who eventually died from exposure out there. And when they ran out of their supplies, some kind of ritual suicide, and there seems to be some sort of mysticism or at least or ritual with this circle here.
Why would they have supplies to stay alive and then kill themselves instead of just leaving?
They didn't know the gas was gone, or maybe there was something more dangerous than that they were just so worried about.
Well, the tunnel was collapsed. Until we broke through from the surface.
But then why ritual suicide?
Maybe they only had one thing, and that was hope for a god.
Aren't you the expert on Japanese culture? Why would anyone commit ritual suicide?
Not for... I mean, that's a matter of shame. It's not...
Go ahead.
You know, shame, disgrace. What's disgraceful here is the question.
Maybe you should check out that desk. If there's anything written, maybe they were kind enough to document there.
And see if the person in charge over there has a journal or anything like that while I check the desk.
Take a look at this alto, but I'm not going to touch it yet.
And I, by chance, they have swords, right?
The officer has a sword, yes.
Can I take his sword?
Okay, yeah, it's tied to his belt, but you can kind of undo the loops and kind of pull it out. It is a katana, a very, very sharp use. It's got seen use, but it's a katana.
That seems a bit ghoulish, mate. Maybe put that back.
Yeah, it'll be cool as a trophy. I stick it on my I put it strap.
Put it back. It isn't.
And Roland is going to glare at him. That's a bit ghoulish, mate. Put it back.
It's disrespectful as well as ghoulish. It's not a fucking trophy.
That'll be all right.
Emmett is just
Don't
watching
think you're
from the other side of the
understanding
room.
us. Put it back.
Let the man have it. We're all here for treasure. If all there is that gold thing, you know, it's something. But...
Without making physical contact with the shrine, I am going to very carefully, if I have a magnifying glass, start looking at this shrine.
Okay. You can roll, and you already rolled an investigation? Perfect. You can see it is covered in Japanese calligraphy, kind of etched into the shrine. There's markings kind of all over the base of it, and then everything else of the shrine is just kind of normal and dusty. But it seems that there's a string of these Japanese letters, which I don't think you speak or can read, but it looks to be...
Language scroll in as you would pull out a translation book to try to...
Can roll linguistics.
Meg is getting right up in Ronan's business as much as she can, being as short as she can. And she says, look, that sword is a sign of rank. It's a sign of family. It's a sign of duty and responsibility. That man died here for a reason. He took his own life for a reason, and until we find out what that reason is, that does not belong to you.
Go ahead.
I mean, The thing is I don't really care. To be honest,
Meg pulls out a gun.
Emmett has his gun out and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's going on? Put that down!" And he points his
Yes.
gun at you.
Well, my gun's in.
Roland
Ronan
steps
pulls
into
out
the
my-
room, got his Walther out. Look. If I'm the one saying that we need to calm down, we need to calm down. I'm not
I'm
opposed to
perfectly
shooting
calm.
anyone, but I'm also
Trying
opposed
to
to keeping us all alive.
trying to defuse the situation without just threatening him. She would lie and say, it's also cursed. You might want to put that down.
Nice.
all right, I'll just toss it to the corner then.
That's better. And Meg takes a very deliberate step back and
I,
holsters her weapon.
I give Meg a knowing look as after she says that.
Emmett is.
Dang, I had a katana and then I lost it.
He lowers the gun but doesn't sheath it. He steps kind of over. He's like, "You guys are crazy. They sent me crazies."
Yeah, well, we're crazies who get the job done. Isn't that right?
Look, I think you'd have to be a bit mad to come into a job like this. You become the kind of men and women that your benefactors would hire for this mission. Now that we've decided, now that we've all agreed that we're not going to be looting what is essentially a military tomb, what can you tell us about this statue?
You know, I have nothing against looting, just not that.
Agreed.
And she will turn her attention to the altar and the statue. She'll come over on this side.
Yeah, you can roll linguistics. You can see that there's the etchings into it with the Japanese symbols.
Gotcha.
I have 5 in my linguistics.
Are you trying to assist her?
But why they were threatening with the sword? She was.
I didn't even see that you were rolling. Okay. So yeah, between the two of you, as you're kind of bending down, you've already started flipping through your book with the lantern. You begin to identify without finishing everything, because it's taking you longer to look them up than it is to just read it. But you can catch on pretty quick that this is I don't have words for it, but what it is basically an incantation written into this shrine. And Meg, as you kind of read through it as well, it doesn't maybe make as much sense to you from your perspective, but the words all kind of blending together is indeed a ritual. And it mentions something about removing wealth from the sacred shrine or temple or something to that effect. And the guardians of which must remain in the circle until the wealth is stolen or something like that, as guardians or something. So the gist of it, you can kind of read is a spell. Gwen, you would know that if, with the translation being completed, if someone removes the wealth from the shrine, the guardians within the circle will awaken or something like that. Or the guardians will punish the thieves or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's some kind of arcane trash.
This is a spell form that why these forms did not wake when we entered the room. If the magic of the spell was completed, removing that gold would probably animate these bodies.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to believe that, look, I've seen a zombie movie or two. I'm not entirely aware of such things, but you may have seen too many of them.
Meg laughs from the other side of the room.
Look, I'm not going to support taking these men's weapons. We didn't kill them ourselves, after all, but that's the treasure, I think the mission calls for it to be taken with us, and I'm not going to stop you from bringing that back to our employer.
Still seems too easy.
Well, this obviously is not the whole treasure.
I don't think it
Right.
is the whole treasure. I think
Right.
there's more to be found. Why is this piece the one they chose to keep with them?
It probably needed just any kind of ritual. Probably needed just something of a certain value or material. It was the largest piece of solid gold.
I suppose we put this. I'll put the question to the team. Do we want to take this Buddha with us? Or.
Let me just see if I can figure out more of this situation and check out this desk. It might tell us other locations, for one thing, and what they were for sure trying to do with all this nonsense.
Okay, and while that's happening, Roland is going to strike another match to make sure the gas isn't building back up.
Okay. It does not seem to be. Meg, as you're kind of looking over the desk, and Gwen, if you're in earshot, Emmett just mutters, "I can't believe we're having this conversation. We're here to get the treasure. It's solid gold right there."
What,
No,
Emmett?
When I
nobody
heard that,
we're not taking it, Emmett.
He says
Like-
that while you are stepped outside.
Tell you what, once we finish looking at this paperwork here, we can step out of the room, and you can take the treasure off and activate the zombies.
He begins to walk towards the Buddha.
Once we finish reading this.
look, if you're going to take the treasure, take the treasure. But I don't think we need to continue being afraid of superstitions. This is not a ghost story.
Exactly.
Emmett looks at Ronan, just like kind of just shakes his head, like, can't believe this. Meg, down at the desk, did you roll a 2 for linguistics just now, or is that your old roll?
No, that was my previous one.
Okay. You can roll investigation. Gwen, are you both doing it together? Because if so, whoever has the highest can roll with a +2, as you kind of help each other.
She would this is probably more writing. She would probably be just assisting over here.
Okay. So Meg, you can roll with a +2.
Okay. I'm also going to toss I'm going to toss 2 style points into it.
Okay.
So is that +4?
Yes, indeed. Okay. You find rolled out is the Japanese map, which has kind of like writing kind of a little bit on it. Nothing that's disrespectful, like graffiti or anything, but there's just kind of a lot of like just notes on it. Most of it's all in Japanese. There's one rune or character that does not. It doesn't. You've never seen it before. You're fluent in Japanese and you've never seen this. It doesn't even look that Japanese on it. But it's kind of some of the writing there on the right side. So as you take the map, and actually I think this should be all players. You can pick it up and kind of look at it. It seems to be almost like documenting some of the roads that they had been building, some of the locations that Yamashita had been developing in this island. And
That's handy.
yeah, it seems to like there's some good information on it. The typewriter also has communications. It's a very old Japanese typewriter, so it's almost easier to draw the writing than to type with it. But you can see that there is like final orders have been kind of just laid down next to it, where it basically says their final orders are to defend the resting place, and that is kind of all you find on the desk.
Okay. I'm going to point that character out to Gwen.
Gwen, are you fluent in Atlantean?
Yes. So I spent a feat to do that.
Um, you did not expect maybe to see it on a Japanese flag written in here in this kind of tomb, but it does say the waterfall, or the rune in Atlantean says waterfall.
Oh my god.
What?
That
Oh my god, what?
that there are only about maybe a half a dozen people in the world who sorry, 6 people in the world who know that language. I'm one of them. That's an Atlantean. It says the waterfall. It some people consider this language to be the language that the story of the Tower of Babel is based off of. It is supposedly one of the oldest languages in existence.
Does that rune or character make sense contextually now that I know what it is?
It would take some time to read over the look. I was saying a map, but it's the flag and the different notes and stuff on it. But you can begin to cross-reference those in a roll shortly. Emmett kind of looks down at Ronan, looking just kind of with like um, a glance down. Both of you are actually down there, so Ronan and Roland, and he just says, "Are we done yet? Can we take the treasure?"
Oh man.
By all means.
Go for it.
He looks over at the ladies. "I don't want to get shot. Can I take the treasure, miss? Please."
Sure, I don't care. And she's just very focused on this, right?
Gwen is just too focused on this symbol to say anything.
You know what to touch and not to touch, Emmett.
He
Surely.
scoops up the gold statue and then begins to examine it. And then the corpse at his feet has been knocked over, disarmed, but knocked over, begins to reach a mangled, decrepit hand up towards Emmett. And that is a good enough stopping place for tonight. We will see you all next week as we figure out what happens to this adventuring party. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.